Okay, so for this project, you're gonna need some scissors, some kind of measuring. You're gonna need your sewing machine. You're gonna wanna use either some polyfill batting, or you can use some fusible lightweight interfacing, which looks like this. You're gonna need 6 squares, all cut the same size, of some sort of cotton fabric. And then you're gonna need 6 pieces of fleece cut the same size as your cotton fabric. You're also gonna need 6 pieces of either the fusible fleece or the batting, cut a little bit smaller than your squares. It doesn't need to be the same size, it can be a little bit smaller. What I'm doing now is I'm gonna take my fusible fleece and I'm going to attach it to my cotton piece. So you're gonna wanna put your cotton piece down like this. And you wanna use the side of the fusible fleece that's not, I don't know if you guys can even see that. So this side is kind of more shiny. It's rougher, that's the fusible side. So you wanna put the fusible side towards your cotton. And you do want it a little bit smaller because you don't want this fusible stuff on your iron. So, and you can pin this, I don't, but you can. And you can also put something over top of your fabric. Again, I don't, some people do. And we're just gonna hold this down for 10 seconds. We're gonna do this to each of our pieces. So now that we've attached that, I'm gonna have 2 holes in my cube. So for each piece, you can have as many holes as you want in your cube. If you wanted 4 holes, a hole in each side, you would do this to 4 pieces. I only want 2 holes. So I'm gonna take 2 of my squares and I'm gonna put the fabrics facing right sides together, like this, okay? And then you're gonna wanna take something round and put it in the center, whatever approximate center that you have. And you're just going to draw a circle. And I'm gonna do this for both pieces. Okay, so now you're gonna wanna make sure your fabrics are good and lined up and they're all the way they should be. Now would be the time to fix that. Okay, and then you're gonna pin. You wanna pin this in place because if you don't, this will slide. You're going to sew around this circle and this circle. Now that you've sewn your circles, you can unpin it. So take a pair of scissors, cut off any strings. You need to cut this circle out. But you make sure you don't cut your thread line. Okay. Now you've got these, what you want to do is you want to pull this through like this, through the hole. And you may gotta just pull this a little taut like this. Okay, so now what you're gonna wanna do is you have all the pieces or all your side pieces that don't have holes in them. You're gonna wanna make sure that your fleece piece or your cotton piece and your fleece piece are wrong sides together. So you want the right sides facing out. So this is the right side, this is the right side. On any of those pieces without holes. Now you're gonna take a piece that has a hole. I'm gonna call this, for the sake of it, the front. Now we're gonna call this the side piece. This is essentially what we're doing. You're gonna line these up like this, and then you're just gonna flip it over. And my fabric is not cut 100% perfect, so that's why it's looking like this. So basically, now you're going to pin these together, and then you're going to want to zigzag stitch all the way down this side. Okay, so what you should have after that is this. So next we're going to attach another piece. We're going to do the same thing but on this side. So we're just going to match this up. And you're going to zigzag stitch all the way down this side. So now we're going to put on the back. So for me, my back has a hole. So you can put it on either one of these sides. So we'll just do this. So basically we want to line this up. And we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put this here. So just zigzag stitch here. Okay. Now that you've sewn all of your sides together, you should have something that looks kind of like a square. It'll look like this. It'll be a square. An inside out square. So it'll look just like this and like this. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna attach the bottom, and then I'll go explain it, if you wanna hang it, how to do that, and if you don't, then you'll just skip the step for hanging. So let's attach the bottom. Okay, to attach the bottom, you're gonna take one of your pieces of cotton and fleece and match it up to one of these sides. Just like this. And it may be a little big because you lost some seam allowance. That's okay. We can trim it down. It's not the end of the world. I would recommend pinning this for this step just so that it doesn't move. So basically what you've done is you've taken the right side of your fabric and you've pinned it to the inside of your square. So it should look like this. And you are going to sew along this edge, zigzag stitch. Okay, so now you've sewn that, so you basically have sewn yourself like a little flat. So I'm sure you could probably guess that what we're gonna do next is we need to sew this to here, this to here, this. So you have it like this. You want to take this edge and sew it to here. Okay. So now what you should have is this. It should look like this. So we need to now take and sew. We need to finish the box. So this edge should go to here. We'll zigzag stitch that, and then we're gonna zigzag stitch this. So this side to this side, and we're basically just closing this off. So the last part that you should have to sew is this last spot. This is your bottom. So we're gonna just match these up, and we're gonna zigzag stitch. Okay, so now we've done that, you should have basically a square. And what I would recommend is that you just make sure that your inside is closed and that there's no holes, that everything got sewn shut, that there's no openings, that nothing's open by accident or you missed anything. So I'm gonna hang mine. If you are not gonna hang it, skip this next step. So for hanging, here's what we wanna do. I have cut 4 10-inch strips of 1 inch thick fleece. I didn't have enough of my regular hanging, like the strapping to do this, so I'm gonna use fleece. I'm also gonna use D-rings, which I had extra on hand, and I'm gonna use these clips. You could also use grommets. You could also just tie it with fleece. You could also just wrap this around your fleece hoops, whatever you wanna do. But however long you want this to hang down, so if you want this, I'm gonna have mine hang 5 inches, but if I wanted to have it hang 7 inches, I would need to make this 14. inches because we're gonna do this basically. What you need to do is get your last piece of fleece and cotton fabric. You want right sides facing out. So this is the right side and then this is the right side. We're gonna attach this the same way that we attached the bottom. But the difference is if you're gonna hang it, then you're gonna need to add your hanging pieces. So if whatever you're using to hang, especially if it's something that's gonna attach to the inside, and you're not using grommets, you're gonna wanna attach it when you do this part. So I'm gonna take my D-ring, I'm gonna slide it over top of my fleece, I'm gonna fold my piece of fleece in half like this, and then I'm going to pin it into the corner right here. So, and make sure that your piece is facing inside of your fabric. You don't want it to hang out, you want it inside. And I'm gonna pin it now because I just wanna make sure that it doesn't move around. So I'm just gonna pin that in place really quickly. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is you're gonna take right sides together. So your cotton and your cotton need to face each other. And you're gonna wanna do it like this. So you're gonna match this to this, just like you did for the bottom. And we're gonna line these up. I'm gonna pin it. Once you pin the first one, typically the other three sides will kind of fall in place. You may not have to pin again. It's up to you. It's kind of whatever you're comfortable with. I tend to pin just for the purpose of making sure that nothing moves. But you know, it all seems to work itself out once it's sewn. So, all right, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to zigzag stitch all the way across. So now you've sewn that, and what you should have is basically your box like this, and so it should look like this. And then you're gonna wanna take your next piece, make sure you have your little fleece piece together, or whatever you're using to hang. You're gonna wanna pin it in the corner, just like you did the last time. Okay? And then you're gonna take and close just like this. And you're gonna sew this edge to this edge, just like this. And then you're gonna zigzag stitch all the way across. Okay. So now you've done that, so now you have basically just two sides left to do. Now you have this. We're gonna attach a strap here. All right, and then you're gonna take this side and pin it and zigzag stitch it closed here. So now we're gonna sew our last side shut. So what you're gonna wanna do is, this is what you should have now. You wanna make sure that you have one strap on each side. That's how I did it. You can do it however you want to. For me, because I have a strap on each side, I need to put my strap on this side because I already have straps everywhere on the other side. So I'm gonna attach my strap, and then you're gonna take your last side and you're going to do it like this. Match them up. Put pins if you'd like. And you're gonna zigzag stitch all the way across. Okay, so after you cut off any excess fabric, you're gonna wanna just put your hand in the hole and basically turn it right sides. It's kind of hard. I'm going to hang it up so you guys can see. But you have a cube hammock. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach these. I don't have 4 black ones because I must have used one for something. I'm out, so we're going to use 4 blacks and a gray one. And then we're going to go put it in my cage, even though it doesn't match my current liners, because I want to see what it looks like.